brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy. Estás escuchando a tu cerebro al aire. El programa comenzará en breve. Disfrútalo.
Woo! Happy Thursday, everybody. It's a beautiful day. October 9th. Beautiful day to be coming at you from the studio. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I'm certainly having a great one. Oh, excuse me. I just had to get ready to join all of y'all. I'm so happy to be with you today. It's a great day for the news. And listen, fine. I will finally talk about it. As a matter of fact, it'll be our first news story of the day. I'll finally do it. Fine. I'll talk about the Sea Witch. Greta Thunberg is released, claiming she was forced to kiss the Israeli flag and tortured by the IDF. All right, guys. If you are not well aware of climate politics or anything in regards to the green movement, I'll clue you into this lady, Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg, she is of a very young age, actually. She is a Swedish activist. She is not Swedish. She's not sweetish. She is not even really that sweet. She was born January 3rd, 2003, so she is a couple months older than me. She was born in Stockholm, Sweden. She is a Swedish activist best known for pressuring governments to address climate change. She gained global attention in 2018 at the age of 15 after starting a solo school strike outside the Swedish parliament, which inspired the worldwide Fridays for Future movement. So essentially, she's 4'11", by the way. So this girl is tiny. So she's very, very out there in the world. She's like, she's a figurehead for the climate movement in a weird way. So she's a youngin', she really doesn't fly private. Like, she takes a boat everywhere. If you've ever seen the famous photos of her on Time magazine, she like takes a boat from conference to conference. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Okay, she walks the walk a little bit. I mean, she's the only one brave enough to, kinda, you know what I mean? Anyways, she's recently gotten into a tizzy, if you guys haven't heard, in regards to the Israel-Palestine conflict. She's decided, this is the perfect time to get some press, perfect time to get some eyeballs on her. But I'm honestly, I'm not going to question her motives. Maybe she does authentically care about the plight of the Palestinian people. Maybe this is a way to get more eyes on her and her cause. I have no idea. This is up for you guys to decide. In short, I'm just going to try to fill you guys in, and then you can formulate your opinion. In mid-2025, a climate activist, Greta Thunberg, I think it's Thunberg, I don't believe it's Thunberg, because Thunberg, I think that the proper way to pronounce it from her country is Thunberg, joined a humanitarian mission, because I know I'm going to get shit for it, aboard the Madeleine, a UK-flagged aid vessel aiming to break Israel's naval blockade of Gaza by delivering essential supplies like food, medicine, and baby formula. The boat, part of a flotilla organized by the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, was intercepted by Israeli naval forces roughly 120 miles from Gaza, reportedly in international waters. So technically, the move would be illegal. Before being towed to the Ashdod port, Thunberg, and other activists were detained. Some, including her, were later deported, while others refused deportation and remain in Israeli custody pending legal hearings. The flotilla group and legal advocates condemned the seizure as a violation of international maritime law, labeling it akin to piracy. Well, I think that if anything, you, the one that's like traveling in the middle of the night, is engaging. Listen, I'm not saying all acts of piracy are. I'm saying that the image of you going against the established Israeli government in order to further your cause or whatever, that's the real kind of piratey action. You know what I mean? I'm not saying all piracy is bad. I'm saying that pirate behavior, that's just kind of her image. Israel's not really the pirate image here. She is very much much the Jack Sparrow in this story. She's not the British, doing the lawful acts or anything like that. While Israel defended the operation as a legitimate enforcement of the legal blockade, Thunberg has alleged mistreatment during the detention, including unsanitary conditions and being forced to hold Israeli flags, claiming Israel denies, insisting detainees were treated lawfully. The incident has sparked renewed international debate over the legality of Israel's blockade and the rights of peaceful activists, and whether high-profile missions like this are symbolic gestures or vital acts of civil resistance. In my personal view, I think that this is a bit of it's a bit of a performance thing, but I get that she's maybe genuinely trying to help these people out, and if so, good for her. I believe that we have a clip from the boat before she was captured, like a courtesy of, I think Israel released this. Yep, okay, according to the headline, Israel releases video of Greta Thunberg flotilla interception. Okay, let's go to a clip, guys.
My name is Greta Thunberg, and I'm currently on board the boat Alma as part of the global flotilla, a peaceful humanitarian mission to deliver aid to the civilian population of Gaza and to break Israel's illegal and inhumane siege. And it is likely to believe that we will be intercepted tonight by Israel, which would be a blatant violation of humanitarian and maritime law. Israel is not immune to international law. They must be held accountable for their war crimes. Stop the genocide, stop the occupation, and free Palestine.
All right, so there you go. There she is. She is on a boat. Ladies and gentlemen, Pirates of the Mediterranean, Curse of the Swedish Palestinian. I love it. It's great. I'm kidding. I'm joshing. Anyways, I like her. It's like, the bob, the curtain in the front, the kind of the haircut that she has is very nice. It's very cute. It's very I'm gonna fight the global fascist capitalist dictatorship while, looking cutesy. I love it. I'm all in favor of it. And you know what? If this is what we need in order to get that, in order to get Jack Sparrow in the next Pirates of the Caribbean, so be it. Absolutely, sure. Thank you, Greta, for, I don't know if your supplies made it to Gaza. I'm guessing not. After you were intercepted, I'm guessing that it was probably sank into the sea. I don't know. That's my estimate. I'm really confused how Israel is able to find these little microships hundreds of miles from wherever their blockade is, yet we can't manage to capture killers that literally shot somebody on Broadway literally 2 months back in Fargo here. We can't manage to, for some reason, Peter Thiel's network of spies has not reached out that far yet. We can use the satellites to survey that kind of stuff over there, but we can't use it over here. I understand that. Okay, you know what? If anything, that's good. If anything, that's good. We're not living in the days of Ed Gein where you could walk into a bar and shoot a woman and then drag her back to your farm. I mean, maybe we kind of are. If you live in Wyoming, Montana, that kind of if you still live in that, not really all the way west where it's just been colonized by people, California, Oregon, Washington. If you go to East Nevada, Idaho, West Montana, pretty much all of Montana, never mind, Wyoming, bits of Colorado, South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska. If you go to any of those areas, you absolutely you're gonna find a safe haven to get away from everything. So you know what? When everything goes poor, I'm suggesting that that's the migration. That's the area to go to, guys. Don't go to Minnesota. The lakes are beautiful, but go to go get a compound. That's a nice, beautiful idea. Miss Greta, I will invite you personally because I like what you're all about. I like that you're dramatic. I like that you cause a tizzy with people. I think that it's fun. As a matter of fact, speaking of tizzies, if anyone with a brain remembers anything this year, they'll remember the tragic Palisades fire of California. This affected no one that I know because I live nowhere near it. I have people. I know some people from California, and just like people from California, they somehow find a way to make the situation all about themselves. They somehow find a way to make you like worry for a second, like, oh my God, are you okay? Because they're like a little disheveled, and they're like, no. Oh my God, my family literally lives 235 miles from the fires. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? And they're like, my family lives in San Fran. My family lives in, what's it called? It's like the ability to over dramatize and make the whole situation about themselves is amazing. It's not, listen, no slander on people from California. I love every single one that I've met so far. But there's a little bit of the problem of Hollywooding about, like, everything can somehow gravitate back to me. It's a joke. I'm joking. They're fun. I enjoy them. But anyways, the California fires affected a lot of people. They were tragic. A lot of people were clamoring for answers. We were going, what happened? What on earth could have gone so wrong that we I don't know. What happened, guys? Let's just have some answers. Well, guess what, guys? U.S. Attorney announces that we have some answers. We have the arrest of someone. Ladies and gentlemen, this was not a spark fire. When like what's it called? Electric towers, they short circuit and then it falls on all of the dry leaves below or dry grass, and then it ignites from there and spreads from there. No, ladies and gentlemen. We have the announcement of the arrest of 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht. Sorry, he has a really tough name to pronounce. Jonathan Rinderknecht, for allegedly starting the blaze that led to the devastating Palisades fire in California this year. Guys, I personally did lose a home in Los Santos to the fires. My home in Pacific Bluffs went up in flames. I lost 2 garages. I lost my shitty apartment in Del Perro Heights. I'm not happy. Like, this man, I want to see him persecuted for personally affecting my community. Anyways, Jonathan Rinderknecht, a 29-year-old man from Florida, of course, has been arrested and charged with starting a fire in the Santa Monica Mountains on January 1st, 2025. That, investigators say, later reignited and became the devastating Palisades fire. That fire ultimately killed 12 people, destroyed thousands of structures, and displaced entire neighborhoods in the Pacific Palisades. According to federal prosecutors, Rinderknecht allegedly started the original fire by igniting vegetation with a lighter near a popular hiking trail just after midnight on New Year's Day. The fire was thought to have been extinguished, but days later, high winds caused the underground embers to flare back up, sparking the deadly blaze that followed. He was arrested in Florida on October 7th, 2025, and faces federal charges for destruction of property by fire, a charge carrying a sentence of 5 to 20 years in prison if convicted. What the fuck? You can't throw this guy away for longer? Like, okay, tell me that you can get him per house. I'm saying this is a life conviction. I understand some folks go, well, this is an honest mistake and whatnot. I don't know who thinks to do this. We don't know of a motive as far as I know. I'm going to read further in this article and whatnot. But as far as we know, this could have been, and we should treat this as an act of eco-terrorism. We should treat this gentleman like a criminal, like he is. I'm not just saying this because I have a stigma against people from Florida. I don't. Maybe I should after this, but I'm joking. They're fun. But this guy needs the book thrown at him. 20 years is not enough. I'm just saying it. He's 29 years old. He'll be 50. He'll be 49, nearly 50 when he gets out. So, no. I'm saying no. Investigators used a combination of cell phone data, digital searches, surveillance video, and interviews to build up their case. They claim Rinderknecht was at the exact location where the fires began and had inconsistent explanations for his whereabouts, and even returned later to film firefighters battling the blaze. Oh, what a fucking psycho. He was like the kind of guy where, like, he's the Batman villain Firefly? He liked watching the aftermath of his crimes. I'm kidding. I don't know if that was his real motive, but what else am I to assume of this gentleman? Prosecutors also have cited evidence that he repeatedly listened to a rap song with fire imagery, used ChatGPT to ask about fire-related guilt, and generated AI images of burning cities weeks before the incident. A lighter found in his car matched one seen in his possession days earlier. Earlier, no clear motive has been made public. The case is being described as one of the most high-profile arson persecutions in recent California history. Rinderknecht has not yet entered a plea, and his defense has not yet commented publicly. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the announcement of his arrest, actually. We have it right here, thanks to the San Francisco Chronicle. Thanks, buddies.
Today, we are announcing the arrest of 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht for igniting a fire that ultimately burned down the Palisades earlier this year, killing 12 people, destroying more than 6,800 structures, both homes and businesses, and damaging over 1,000 buildings. The complaint unsealed today charges the defendant with destruction of property by means of fire, a felony that carries a mandatory minimum 5-year federal prison sentence and is punishable by up to 20 years in federal prison. The defendant was arrested yesterday on a federal criminal complaint near his Florida residence, and he's expected to make his initial appearance today in the federal court in Orlando, Florida.
I wonder if he'll have time to stop at Disneyland. Is it Disney World or Land? I think it's World. I wonder, you know what I mean? Might as well. Give this guy the whole tour. You know what I mean? Are they persecuting him in Florida?
The allegations in the affidavit are supported by digital evidence, including the defendant's ChatGPT prompt of a dystopian painting showing in part a burning forest and a crowd fleeing from it. Late last New Year's Eve, Rinderknecht returned to Pacific Palisades after working the evening shift as an Uber driver.
That's it. That's the issue. Guys, I've met Uber drivers because I've been in Minneapolis here and there and whatnot. Listen, this lady, she was practically my aunt. She drove for Lyft for a little while. I'm just saying about all of these folks. These people that drive for Lyft, they drive for Uber and whatnot, they're not the most stable individuals. They're not the risk takers that go ahead and, do DoorDash, but they're just psychotic enough to think that, yeah, I love the idea of a stranger in the back of my car. You know what that means? In their heads, they're so psychologically confident that they could kill or maim anybody that they have in the back of their car. And this woman, by the way, she was literally shorter than my mom. My mom's not even that tall of a person, but she was literally about the same height. And she drove for Lyft, and she was bulkier, that's for sure. She could have maybe defended herself against like shorter people, but any guy like over, I think 6 foot would have been able to like take her hostage. But I'm just saying these people that drive for Lyft and Uber they are thrill seekers to the furthest extent, and you should not get in their car. I'm saying that you should risk walking home, or you should honestly go to the... Instead of, when you're like about to pull out of the bar and you see the sheriff who's like spawn camping, he's like waiting for people to pull out, and then he'll immediately pull them over if they inch over the line. Yeah, that guy, just when he pulls you over, get out of the car and lay on the ground and say, I surrender. I would rather take the charge. I'd rather get a DWI. And honestly, it's not even he might even be nice on you if you just surrender, if you let yourself go and you're just like, I did it, I swear. Do that as opposed to getting in the back of an Uber or a Lyft. Like, straight up, I'm not even lying to you guys. Turn yourselves in, because these people they go on hiking trails and they burn animals for fun. They burn down the forests of they burn rich people. They burn down, like Jamie Lee Curtis, they burn down rich people's homes for fun. It's sick. It's evil. These are the people who make the movies that keep our country running. Let's keep it going.
2 of his passengers told law enforcement that he appeared agitated and angry that night. After dropping off a passenger in Pacific Palisades, Rinderknecht parked his car and tried and failed to contact a former friend.
Tried and failed. Okay, anyways, like, he's got a buddy who lives in the Palisades. He really didn't give a fuck. He was like, I'm gonna burn everybody.
He exited the car, walked up a nearby trail, took iPhone videos at a nearby hilltop, and listened to a rap song whose music video objects being lit on fire.
Included objects being lit on fire.
The defendant had listened to this song and watched its music video repeatedly. And
you guys should watch this video. The sheriff behind him is doing coke teeth every now and then. He's doing like the, you know, when they like bite their upper lip with the fully exposed bottom teeth. Anyways.
Days leading up to the...
He seems like a decent guy.
Lockman fire. 12 minutes into the new year, environmental sensing platforms indicated that a fire had started. It took the defendant several tries to contact 911 to report the fire.
The fuck?
He fled the scene in his car, but turned around after passing fire engines driving in the opposite direction.
Oh, wow.
To fight the fire.
To fight the fire. He caught... Look at that. Did you... Listen, he caught himself, like... I think that he had too much spit. This is why you need to give yourself a moment. This is why you guys will hear me pause like that or something, because I give myself time to swallow, because like when you're talking for extended periods of time, saliva will develop in your mouth. This guy doesn't give himself the break. Listen to this. You can hear him when he's like, to fight the fire, and it's like, ugh, you sound like a dork.
The opposite direction to fight the fire. Fight the fire.
Shut up. Be a good public speaker if you're going to be a public speaker. I'm kidding. I'm giving him a hard time.
Investigators determined that the Palisades fire reported on January 7th was caused by an intentionally set fire near a viewpoint along the Temescal Ridge Trail in Topanga State Park on January 1st.
Topanga.
The fire was a holdover fire, meaning it was deeply seated in dense vegetation and roots and continued to burn undetected until...
Deeply seated. Okay. Until a catastrophic weather ensued, resulting in the Palisades fire. I'm going to spoil his next words. Anyways, guys, this is interesting. I will include the rest of the clip in the description if you would like, because there's more stuff that I would like to get into, quite frankly. I would also like to keep this episode a little on the shorter end, because I don't want to waste too much of your times, you know what I mean? And I like the what's it called that we've been keeping? I think I'm going to do real quick a segment that we've been working on. It's called the rapid fire section of today's headlines. So I pulled up the 10 most essential that I think it's important all of you know, and then we're going to move on to our final key story of the day. So if you'll join me, let's go through today's key headlines. Israel-Hamas agree to the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal. Look at that. Guys, look at that. A mediated agreement was reached under U.S. auspices for initial ceasefire, Israeli troop withdrawal, and hostage prisoner exchange. Guys, that's pretty good. We needed a little bit of good news, and then we're gonna immediately kick it to the kind of neutral news with our gentleman James Comey, who we mentioned in the past, pleading not guilty to the federal charges to lying to Congress. Depending on what you guys thought of his show, you might think that he's the most honest gentleman in the world, or you might think that he's Dumb and Dumber. That's up to you. He's entered a plea of not guilty. That's the most important bit to know. Him and his grimace will continue to be on your screens for a while, just a fair warning. The IRS to furlough nearly half of its workforce amid the U.S. government shutdown. Due to continuing shutdown, about 34,000 IRS staff are to be put on furlough, affecting taxpayer services and operations. Boo, guys. So if you have a claim that's been filed, or if you haven't paid your taxes in a while, don't worry about it. They're not coming for you anytime soon. They're not getting paid, so essential staff are going home. So take a little comfort in that, or be a little worried. It's up to you. Cybersecurity agencies' operations crippled by government shutdown as well. The shutdown has severely impacted the CISA, leaving only a fraction of its personnel active and hindering the agency's response to evolving cyber threats. Well, that ain't good. Given the New York massive cyber threat that we had not too many weeks ago, that's not exactly something that we need to be saying bye-bye to anytime soon. Wouldn't you agree, guys? I think that's a little, out there. House Speaker rejects standalone pay bill for U.S. troops during shutdown. Speaker Mike Johnson, my lookalike, my dad, by the way. It's him or William Barr, one of the two. My mom is Rachel Maddow. Speaker Mike Johnson turned down a proposal to pay military members independently of a broader funding deal, intensifying tensions of the shutdown as the shutdown drags on. Interesting, guys. I'm sorry that my dad's doing that. That sucks. Trio wins 2025 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for work on metal organic frameworks, MOFs. Susumu Kitagawa, Richard Robson, and Omar Yagi were honored for inventing porous molecular structures that can harvest water, capture carbon dioxide, and more. That is really sciencey. That is really fun. And honestly, good news, probably. The stock market hits cautious pause amid the bubble concerns. Global equities show signs of cooling as warnings mounted about overvaluation, especially in AI tech sectors. Guys, AI in general could be it could be a bubble, but it also could be the internet. You know what I mean? It could be a thing where a lot of people back when the internet was happening, that's what a lot of estimators are saying on the stock market. They're going, listen, this AI stuff is the new internet, where a lot of people are going to look at it. They're going to go, this will be dead in a few years. Who's going to really keep buying computers in order to keep connecting with this sort of, you know what I mean, a browser communicator device? People aren't going to do that. And then eventually, people just now we have it on our phones everywhere, and this is literally where you're listening to it now. So listening to my show right now. So AI, you never know. You could take a few episodes of my show, recreate me with AI, and I'm sure that it would be twice as funny and half as boring. So, you know what I mean? It could be the future. I hope that it's not, personally, as an artist. It took my last job, you know what I mean? That's not fun. I'll get into that later, eventually, maybe into another episode. But anyways... Venezuela warns of a counterattack amid U.S. naval deployment. President Nicolas Maduro and military officials threatened responses of U.S. attacks. God, I'm sorry, guys. They have threatened response if the U.S. acts aggressively in light of U.S. naval presence near the Caribbean. So we've been putting a lot of pressure on Venezuela because we believe that they are sending a lot of bad fellas up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, whatever on it. I think that it's true. I think that it's also a little over exaggerated. I think that it's a good idea that we're deporting some migrants because you can't have an open border like we did the last 4 years, but you also can't, you know what I mean? Alligator Alcatraz doesn't make us look the greatest. I'm a pretty, I want to be pretty, I want to be even-minded on this. You know what I mean? We can't have an open border, but we also can't do the ridiculous stuff. Anyways, the Myanmar is up to some shit. Military bombs Buddhist festival, dozens killed or injured. The junta reportedly Junta reportedly struck a religious gathering, resulting in significant casualties amid continued conflict and human rights abuses. Not fun, not great. But you know what? It's not going to be our last one in the rapid fire section because India's Navi Mumbai International Airport Phase 1 inaugurated. Prime Minister Modi officially opened the first phase of the new airport, improving regional connectivity and relieving traffic pressure on Mumbai's existing airports. Guys, if you're Indian, I hope that I'm reaching out to that Indian audience. You know what I mean? I'll speak a little bit of Hindi. I'll drop next episode, the Google Translate at the beginning will say something. It'll say that message in Hindi. You mark my words, subscribe, like and subscribe so that you can be there for it. Joking. Anyways, our final story for the day is going to be relating to something that Fox 5 Atlanta has recently reported on. It's a new alarming trend among the youth. Guys, in my opinion, I think this is what we need to worry about more so than anything else. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the clip because I think you all are going to be just as appalled when you first hear this as I was. So let's just roll this. Why not?
And is picking up steam. Stay at home. A new trend is picking up steam. Stay-at-home sons. These young men, dubbed trad sons or hub sons, are opting out of the rat race to take on full-time homemaker duties for their parents. And
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard this right. Listen, okay. You guys are going to think that I am being like, oh, men shouldn't be the ones to stay home and women being the breadwinner, that's dumb. I'm not saying that. These men are staying at home into their 20s or 30s with their parents, not a significant other, with their parents, in exchange for room or board. Guys, I'm just going to let her finish.
Exchange for room and board. A family therapist tells the New York Post that this shift may be fueled by insecurity and instability, with some young men feeling safest under mom and dad's roof in an uncertain world. And they're not alone. 1 in 3 U.S. adults aged 18 to 34 now lives at home.
Why? Listen. Oh my, okay, yes, it's expensive. Life is expensive. Yes. 18 to 25, sure. Yes, life is expensive. 34? 34?
Experts say it's fine. 18 to 34 now lives at home. Experts say it's fine as long as it's a pit stop and not the destination. So could you get on board with being or having a stay-at-home son? Let us know. And download Fox Local for live streaming, news, and more.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can't normalize this. We cannot allow this. So, in case you need more detail, because I can understand being appalled. I can understand being like, what the fuck? What? I get it. I will explain it to you, and you will be just as disgusted, and you will know that we have to fight against this. We have to destroy this, because this is the sign of a culture weakening. This is the first sign of our culture decaying. In a cultural twist that's catching attention online, in households across the country, a new trend is emerging, the rise of trad son or hub son. These are young men, often in their 20s or 30s, who are choosing to live at home with their parents, not out of failure, but as a lifestyle choice, rejecting the traditional rat race of modern adulthood, inspired partly by the trad wife movement. Listen, if you want to be a trad wife, that's great. To do it with your parents, though. Listen, if you want to be a trad husband to your dommy mommy wife, do it. Yes, do the trad husband thing. That's great. Awesome, do it. I'm not against trad wives. I'm not against trad husbands. But trad sons or hub sons, what the fuck are we doing? Okay, this is... Hub Sons flips the script on the trad wife movement, where women embrace the domestic lifestyle instead of pursuing careers. Hub Sons flips the script. They take the household responsibilities of cooking, errands, or yard work while their parents, or often their mothers, continue to work. Some even lean into the identity with pride, branding themselves online, selling merch, or posting videos of the stay-at-home son routines. Economically, this isn't just about vibes. It reflects real pressures. Skyrocketing rent, job instability, and student debt, along with burnout from the hustle culture. Yes, it's supposed to burn you out. That's the point. That's how you know you're doing well. And then to retreat into the arms of your mom. Listen, I'm not Jordan Peterson. I'm not here to lecture you about the devouring mother, but I'm here to tell you, you gotta have a job. You cannot retreat from life. I'm meeting people in their 20s, people older than me. I'm 22. People older than me who do not have their driver's license, who do not own a car. People who, listen, life is tough, I know, but there are people who are not even interested in taking the essential life steps. These are people who are literally comfortable bumming rides from people, bumming money from their moms, their parents, I'm gonna take my girlfriend out. Can you imagine how embarrassing this is when you have to introduce your significant other, boyfriend or girlfriend, to this, and it's like, yeah, I live with my mom. I'm a hub son. And they're like, what the fuck is that? And you go, I live at home with my mom, and I'm like dad, basically. Dad left a few years ago, and then I just can't come up with the money to leave. And honestly, mom likes having me here. She says that it's like having a lover, except we don't do the things that like normal people, not normal people, normal lovers. We're not weird. I'm just saying that mother and me get along great. This is where Ed Gein came from, you guys. He's in the news recently. He's on the Netflix show, all of that. Ed Gein was a hub son. Ed Gein was a trad son. He stayed at home with his mom into his 20s or 30s, and then his dad died and his mom had a stroke and he got trapped. Listen, guys, this is not the move. The move is to move out, and then eventually not move in with the parents or have them move in with you. We're not like Europe. We're not Europe where we all live on top of each other. Your parents, they grow up enough, and then you stick them in a home. And then that is their home. And then you go visit them whenever you have time. Once or twice a year, a month. You know what I mean? Whenever you have time. Because that's how we do it in this country. And a lot of people, they need to get rid of this shit, this idea that like the forever kind of kid movement is the way to go. For some, moving back home provides financial breathing room or emotional recovery time. For others, it's a protest against the system they feel offers little reward for endless grind. What do you mean little reward? What do you mean little reward? In the sense where it's like, I can't get frozen yogurt every night. Yeah, you're not supposed to. You'll be too fat. You'll be too fat. As a matter of fact, that's the good thing about this recession. That's the good thing about inflation, is that everybody's getting a little skinnier. If anything, people are going to the food shelter more. They're starting to get restricted. We're starting to restrict, guys. Okay, that's the one thing. We've done this many times in many recessions before. 2000s, the 90s, and whatnot. We've had to go back. We've had to have these vintage times where it's like the most special thing you can look forward to that summer is a drumstick. You know what I mean? Those ice cream cones with the chocolate and they're dipped. Anyways, listen, critics say, and this is probably going to reference me, that it can lead to stagnation, social isolation, or extend dependence, especially for those without a clear long-term plan. While the phenomenon remains mostly niche, it reflects a deeper shift in how young people, especially men, are renegotiating adulthood, work, family roles, and what it means to live on their own terms in a changing world. Guys, reject this, please. Ladies, reject this too. I'm not just saying this for guys. Ladies, reject this too. This is a dangerous cultural movement. The thing that makes America special, the reason that we don't have siestas every like afternoon and whatnot like Europe does, the reason we don't do that is the reason that we are ahead in so many regards. We push ourselves so much. We go that dramatic ass pace because burnout is just the American lifestyle. That's just how we do it. And if you want to reject that in your own way, maybe find a way to break out of the matrix. Maybe do what Andrew Tate is doing. You know what I mean? Find some OnlyFans girls and sell some. You know what I mean? But this, in the sense of like being coddled to death, reject. I'm saying run away. I know that it's appealing. That's exactly why Coraline's mom, you know what I mean, the other mother, was so successful. Because being coddled is always more appealing than being an adult. But adulthood is freedom. Independence is the true freedom. Being coddled will always lead you to nowhere. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a good note for us to leave on. I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. I will be back at it again tomorrow, Friday. Make sure that you hit subscribe if you haven't already, if you like what you're hearing. I will be back at it again tomorrow, Friday. We'll be back at it again after that on Monday. We're taking the weekend off. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, weekend, you know what I mean? I hope that if you don't listen to me tomorrow, I hope that you have a great weekend. I hope that you have a great rest of your life. I hope that you just, I hope everything goes right for you. This has been Ollie Vogt Larson, hosting your Brain on Air. Thank you all so much for listening. Bye-bye.